Hey everyone, next up here is the classic 1944 drama, Gaslight, starring Charles Boyer, Ingrid Bergman, and Joseph Cotten. Now, upon the death of opera singer Alice Alquist, her niece Paula was sent away to study music. 10 years later, Paula, now played by Ingrid Bergman, is in love with pianist Gregory Anton, Charles Boyer. So they get married. Now, Gregory mentions to her how much he wishes he could live in a fashionable London square, and so Paula reluctantly says they can stay in her aunt's old home since she still owns the property. However, the place and her aunt's stuff bring up very traumatic memories for her, so Gregory decides to put everything in the attic and board it up. They hire Nancy, Angela Lansbury, and the half-deaf Elizabeth, Barbara Everest, as maids. Now, Gregory and Paula mostly keep to themselves, and Paula slowly becomes forgetful, losing a brooch he gave her along with hearing things at night. But the question is she really struggling? Or is Gregory slowly driving her insane? Now, Gaslight was based on a 1938 play by Patrick Hamilton, which has gone by the titles of Gaslight and Angel Street, depending upon where it was produced. The play was turned into a British movie in 1940, starring Anton Walbrook and Diana Wynyard. Now, at first, Columbia Pictures bought the film rights in the U.S. with hopes of making a film with Irene Dunne starring. But when those plans fell through, MGM bought the rights for their star, Hedy Lamarr. But when she turned it down, Ingrid Bergman campaigned hard for the role. Or at least she did after director George Cukor convinced her to try. Although she did run into trouble since she was under contract to David O. Selznick. Now, Charles Boyer insisted upon being top billed, while Selznick was insisting on top billing for Ingrid Bergman. Although, quite frankly, she wasn't as interested because she wanted the part. So she had to beg him to let her have the role. Now, obviously she got it, and it ended up winning her the Oscar for Best Actress, her first of 3. Now, I'm coming off my first time seeing this movie, and my main thought afterwards was, wow, that was a rough movie to watch. Now, don't misinterpret my comments. I'm not trashing the movie. In fact, I am very much praising it. The performances here are, in my opinion, great, as they really help sell the story. Now, this is my first Charles Boyer film, so I really don't have anything else to compare it to, but he does great in his villainous role. From the moment his character starts in tearing down Paula, all I can feel for his character is an intense dislike bordering on hatred, seeing what he does to her. And I really feel for Ingrid Bergman's Paula, watching her go from being sane and at least keeping things together to completely falling apart mentally with all of Gregory's psychological abuse. I certainly agree that Ingrid Bergman earned her Oscar win for this movie. Watching the two of them, their performances here, just makes this movie extremely tough to watch. They're so good. I'd be lying if I didn't admit to continuing on with the film, if only to see Gregory get his comeuppance at the end. And I'm certainly rooting for Joseph Cotten as the police detective Brian Cameron to seek out what's happening after he mistakenly takes Paula to be her late aunt, in the hopes of seeing him rescue Paula from madness before it's too late. And it's so weird at this point to go back and see Angela Lansbury in her film debut, but she is fantastic here too, and also makes seeing the movie well worth it. Now, I've heard good things about the earlier British film too, but after watching the 1944 film, there's no way I want to go through this story again anytime soon in any form. Now, this film was definitely worth it for its stars, and is the version I recommend seeing at present, since, as I said, I haven't seen the earlier version. Now, this movie was recently made available on Blu-ray from Warner Archive Collection, after previously being available on DVD. Now, this is one of their transfers I have to take issue with. But be careful of assuming what I mean with that. Why do I take issue with it? Simple. The movie looks fantastic, and as rough as this movie is to watch, I wish the picture quality would have been terrible so that I would have had an excuse to stop watching it partway through and not come back. Seriously though, like I said, this film looks great and is certainly the best way to view this movie. Unless, of course, you don't want to finish it, then find some way it looks terrible. But the movie's length is 1 hour 54 minutes. Well, that's all I have to say on this one, everybody. So thanks for listening, and I hope you'll keep tuning in for more.